Hi everybody, welcome to Coffee and a Card, my free monthly paper crafting class. I'm Vicki Sewell, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator near Chattanooga, Tennessee. This morning I created 16 Valentine cards in no time at all. I wanted to share some tips with you so that you could create some holiday cards for your friends, neighbors, or local schools and healthcare facilities. So let's get started. First, I'm going to take a piece of basic white cardstock and I'm going to create the card base. To do this, I'm going to put it in the left-hand corner at 4 1/4, and I'm going to use my scoring tool to go ahead and score for the fold. Then I'm going to turn the paper and I'm going to put it in the left-hand corner at 5 1/2, and I'm going to use my cutting blade. And I'm going to cut the card base. Then all we have to do is fold that up. And I repeated that 16 times, or I repeated it 8 times to get 16 cards, because of course you get 2 from each piece of cardstock. And the reason I did that is because you can get 16 pieces that we're going to need from the pattern paper. So let me put this aside. Well, no, let me bring in the pattern paper before I put this aside. So this is Party Pattern, and it is from the annual catalog, 2021 to 22 annual catalog. I'm going to look at my card. I want this is going to be a landscape card. So I want to make sure that it is go in the right direction. This is a directional pattern. It only goes one way. So we want to make sure that we've got it right side up. And I'm just double checking to make sure, yep, I'm going to make it 5 1/2. And the hearts will be going in the right direction. I'm double checking to make sure the hearts are going in the right direction. And then we'll just cut right down that line like this. And we need, for the bottom part of the card, it's going to open like this. We just need about 1 1/2 inches. Now, I also made a card going this way. So I cut the paper a little differently, but I wanted to make sure that the hearts, again, went in the right direction. So you have to think about that before you start cutting. Either way, you need a piece of paper, of your designer paper, that is 5 1/2 by 1 1/2. So we just keep cutting these strips at 1 1/2. It's perfectly fine to, if you have 2 pieces of paper, to cut 2 at a time, as long as your cutting blades are sharp. But you can see it doesn't take long to get your pattern paper cut. So here I have about 8 strips. And I cut earlier from that same piece of paper about 8 strips. So I've got a nice stack of strips to make these cards with. So I'll set my paper cutter aside. Next, I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. This Stamparatus has 2 plates. One can go at the top and lock in like that. The other, I've already got locked in on this side. It's helpful to put a stamp set or something underneath the plate like that, just to keep it more level as you stamp. I'm going to put the card base in the corner right here, very tight, right up here in the left corner, making sure that it fits really closely up there. The Stamparatus allows you to stamp over again. If you don't get it quite the way you want it, you can stamp again, which is a great advantage. We're just going to tap on that image. You can see we got a little bit of ink up here. I'll just wipe that off just in case it gets on our card with a damp paper towel. And we're just going to fold that over and press down a little bit and lift up. And that is beautiful. But if I did not like the way it looked, then I could just tap a little more ink on there again if I wanted it a little darker. Again, check to see. It's hard with the larger stamp sets, stamp pads, to not get ink on the plate. But you just keep a paper towel close by. It's no problem at all. So there. It's really nice and dark now, the way I like it. And the next thing I'm going to do is open up the card. Again, I'm going to put it up in the corner. I'm going to move this up a little bit so that you can see it better. And move my stamp set over to support this side. Now I have the sentiment right here, and I'm going to tap on that. Again, just wiping off any smudges there. Make sure that's in the corner. And fold that over. And there is, oh, and sometimes it sticks, that's okay. There's the sentiment. So now I've got this outside stamped and the inside all in one fell swoop. You may have noticed there's a little, I have a little set of hearts on here. That is for the envelope. I like to decorate my envelopes. So here's my envelope. I'll just put that up in the corner. I'll ink up those hearts. And I can do a whole set of envelopes to match the cards that I'm sending out in no time. Isn't that fun? So there's your Stamparatus, and you would just keep going with that. You'd pull up your next card base, you'd stamp your front, you move it, open it up, stamp the sentiment here, stamp like that, and go on to your next card base. So the Stamparatus makes it really easy to make a batch of cards in no time. The next step is an embossing folder. The embossing folder I'm going to use is called Dotty Hearts. It is from the mini. When we're using an embossing folder, this platform tells us exactly what we need to use with each thing, what to use with dies, what to use with embossing folders, and all the plates are numbered. So that makes it easy for me to know what I'm going to need. The first thing I'm going to do is place the embossing folder, the card, into the embossing folder like this. And you'll notice that there's a line right here. I'm going to try to line that up, line the paper up with that to get it straight. And just fold the card over like that, the cardstock over. Now, your embossing folder has a fold on it, and the thing to remember is the fold always goes toward the front of the machine. So I'm going to turn the embossing folder so it's going to go into the machine with that fold. Then I'm going to put the plates on. This is plate 3. And I'm just going to roll that right through the machine. You do have to kind of hold it down. And it pops and cracks, but that's okay. So now I'm going to take the embossing folder off, and there's the beautiful design that it left on the heart. Notice that I stamped first and then embossed. Here's a card where I did not stamp first. And you'll see that if you try to emboss first and then stamp, that the texture from the embossing folder keeps the ink. Now, this might give a texture that you like or a little effect that you like, but that was not really the effect that I was going for. So you have to remember to stamp first, then use your embossing folder. The next thing we want to do is cut the little scalloped edge. This time I'm using plate 1, plate 2, and plates 3. Again, those directions are written on plate 1, and that's what I'm referring to make my sandwich. So you want to be sure and open up the card. And this is a die from the Scallop Contours dies. It's from the Color and Contour Bundle, which is available in the annual 2021-22 annual catalog. So I've added a little washi tape to the die just to hold it down. And I'm going to center it right here on the bottom of the card. I'm putting the edge of the die right where the edge of the folder ends. I want just to cut about an inch off the bottom. All right, and then we're going to come back with our top cutting plate. And we're going to run that through the machine. It's probably going to pop and crack a little bit here. But that's okay. And here we go. There you can see it cut a nice scallop. I'll pull off that edge. Of course, the washi tape is holding the die to it, and I'll pull that off. And here we have a beautiful scalloped edge at the bottom now. All right, we're done with the stamping and emboss machine. All we have left to do now is take our beautiful paper, pattern paper that we cut, put a little glue or seal on it, Stampin' Seal. I like to put a little glue because it gives me a little wiggle room. And we'll just add that to the bottom. And there you have a beautiful Valentine's Day card, all finished. You can contact me at stampinchat30@gmail.com. If you'd like to order any of these products, you can go to stampinchat30@stampinup.net. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be yours. If you would like and share this video and then comment that you've shared, because otherwise I may not see that you've shared, you may get one of these cards in the mail. Have a great day. Ink it up and send a blessing to someone today.